Today, we will be studying about the Hiv life cycle and the antiretroviral drugs. Now, as we know, the core of the Hiv virus consists of the two copies of the viral RNA. Then, the Hiv virus consists of its own enzymatic machinery. First one to be here is the reverse transcriptase enzyme. Second important one here is the integrase enzyme, and third here is the protease enzyme. Then these viral core is surrounded by an envelope protein. Now on the envelope we have got two types of the glycoprotein. First one, which is a long, thin and slender, this is nothing but GP41, and second to be here is the glycoprotein 120. This forms the important component of the viral surface envelope protein. Now, as we know, the HIV virus in the human body primarily infects the CD4 plus cells. Now, as to study the HIV life cycle, we will be studying how the HIV virus infects the CD4 plus cell. Now, at the surface of the CD4 plus cells, we have two types of receptors, CD4 receptors and chemokinin receptors. There are two types of the chemokinin receptors. First one to be here is the CCR5, and second one to be here is the CXCR4. These are the two very important chemokinin receptors. Now, what happens here exactly is, as we know, the glycoprotein 120 receptors, which is an important envelope glycoprotein, these bind to the CD4 plus cell plus receptors and bring about the conformational change in this receptor. After bringing the conformational change in the CD4 plus receptors, these glycoprotein 120 binds to the chemokinin receptor, and again it brings about the conformational change. After bringing the conformational change in the both, now it is ready for glycoprotein 41 to fuse with the cell membrane, and after fusion, these leads to the transfer of the core material inside of the cytoplasm of the host cell. Now, as we all know, the core protein consists of the two copies of the viral RNA. Now, what happens here is the viral RNA gets converted to the viral DNA in presence of a very important enzyme, which is known as reverse transcriptase enzyme, which is most important enzyme in the machinery of the HIV virus. Now what happens here is the viral DNA now gets incorporated to the host DNA. This incorporation is the very main step of the viral infection, which is bring about by an important enzyme known as integrase enzyme. By these, the viral DNA has been integrated into the host DNA. Now, as the translation of the protein takes place, there is the formation of the viral protein. Now, the enzyme protease leads to the cleavage of this protein and formation of the viral component. And then there is a release of HIV virus out of the CD4 plus cells. So this was whole life cycle of the HIV virus. Now we will be studying step by step about the antiretroviral drug. Now the first drug to be here is the inhibitor, or we can say, to be exact, is the fusion inhibitor. It leads to the inhibition of glycoprotein 41 receptor present at the envelope of the HIV virus, and this is known as Enfuvirtide. Now the second drug what we have here is the one which leads to inhibition of the CCR5 receptors, and this is known as Maraviroc. Now we have an important inhibitor of the reverse transcriptase enzyme. Here we have two classes of drugs. First one to be here is the nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor, most popularly known as NRTIs. And then we have a non-nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor, most popularly known as NNRTI. What we have here is the zidovudine, lamivudine, stavudine, abacavir, tenofovir, emtricitabine. And in NNRTI we have nevirapine, efavirenz, delviradine, itravarin and rilpravarin. Now the second drug what we have here is the integrase inhibitor. Here we have raltegravir and dolutegravir. Then we have the third enzyme inhibitor, which is protease inhibitor. Here we have ritonavir, indianavir, azatanavir, nelfinavir, saquinavir, fosamprenavir, lopinavir and darunavir. So this was all about the Hiv life cycle and the antiretroviral drugs. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe the channel.